I'm extremely proud to be standing here today introducing someone who has accomplished so much through hard work, perseverance, and fearless leadership. Jordan Zimmerman is founder, chairman, and architect of the Zimmerman advertising empire, now the 14th largest advertising agency in the world, with published billings in excess of $3 billion. Jordan graduated from USF in 1984 with a bachelor's degree in mass communications. The University of South Florida named him USF Entrepreneur of the Year in 1991, and in 2007 he was again honored with the University of South Florida Distinguished Alumnus Award. Further, in 2013, Jordan was named one of the USF's Fast 56, the 56 fastest growing bull-owned or bull-run businesses in Florida. Through his own family foundation, he generously donated $10 million to the University of South Florida and its unrivaled Zimmerman Advertising Program, or ZAP, a specialized program which is housed in the Zimmerman School of Advertising and Mass Communications and the Muma College of Business. Jordan also has the distinguished honor of having been appointed by former Governor Charlie Crist to serve on the USF Board of Trustees and was recently reappointed by Governor Rick Scott to serve another 5-year term as a USF trustee. I want to thank Jordan today for taking time out of his day to come to Tampa and present to all of us for his fearless dedication to education and to USF. Ladies and gentlemen, it gives me great excitement to introduce all of you to Jordan Zimmerman.
Thank you, Matthias. Good evening, everyone. And I want to say thank you for coming to see me speak tonight. And hopefully I'll inspire many of you tonight to do greatness with your life. You picked an unbelievable university to attend. And I know that firsthand because I attended this university and I visited 3 others before I chose USF. We have an outstanding faculty at USF, some of the best in the country. And we have unbelievable leadership with our great president and our provost and our, I didn't even see, Moez. And our leadership in many of our schools, including our business school. And I'm so honored and proud to serve as a trustee to the university and to be able to have a school that really is named after me after all these years of building the brand of Zimmerman. But tonight, you picked the university, so you know how great it is. But more important, tonight is your night. Tonight is your night for me to inspire you to do something really incredible with your life. And I labeled this presentation, A Brand Called You. And why? You know, it's, as you look at life, you always look at yourself and say, can I be better? Do we recognize that each and every one of us are really brands? And hopefully tonight I'll give you the tools to help you build your brand so you could do something very, very special with your life. I want to say this going in. I never went to work to make $1. I went to work because I wanted to be inspired by what I did every day. And I knew one day if I did something really great, that may be one day I'd make a little bit of money. Never did I expect to build the empire that we have today. Now I tell you that because when I grew up in Old Bridge, New Jersey, I grew up in a neighborhood where most of my parents' friends and my friends' parents hated what they did. It might sound familiar. And life is too short, and we spend too much time in our offices or doing our work every day, no matter where it is. So I will tell you tonight, find your passion. I learned that at the age of 8 from a lesson from my dad. And when I found my passion at the age of 12, I knew it was what I was born to do. And I found mine on a paper route, meeting a guy that was in the advertising and marketing business. And my parents thought I was crazy and like, how do you know what you want to do at such a young age? But when it hits you like a brick. And you know it. So life lesson number 1 is Don't do what your parents want you to do. Don't do what your guidance counselors tell you to do. Do what your heart and your soul direct you to do. Do what you'll want to do every day that'll make you happy, that will inspire you, and give you the opportunity to want to jump out of bed every day and charge to work to be able to do something special and help to change the world. And you'll hear a lot about how we built Zimmerman, but you'll hear a lot more tonight about how you build the brand of you. So I want to talk a little bit about that. A brand is not the same thing as a product. And I listed the benefits of a product, and I listed the benefits of a personal brand called you. A product like this is made in a factory. A brand, your brand, is made in your mind. How many of you are familiar? You are a brand. Did anybody know that before they walked in the room today? A couple of you. I promise you, by the time you leave tonight, you will look at yourself totally different. A product is a physical product, like I showed you, but you are a conceptual product. How do you visualize what you're going to be? And then how do you live it every single day? A brand has benefits. One of our clients, Papa John's, the benefit of that brand is better ingredients, better pizza. Another brand is AutoNation. And I could talk about all the benefits of shopping at AutoNation because it's a conglomerate. I could give you brand after brand. Party City. It's not a party unless it's a Party City party. So those are benefits of the brand. But the benefit of being a personal brand or a brand called you are your beliefs. Your belief in you. You're going to realize in life, nobody's going to believe in you except you. And I learned that a long time ago because my parents used to tell me, you can do anything you want to do. So when I quit my job at Hilton Advertising in Tampa and decided to open up Zimmerman Advertising in Fort Lauderdale, my parents were tired of me being on their payroll and they wanted me on somebody else's. And they were scared to death because I was coming home to start Zimmerman that I was going to be on their payroll once again. So they told me all the reasons why I didn't want to open up Zimmerman. I guess I showed them. And finally, when you look at a product, the products cost money. Everything we buy costs, and it seems to get more and more expensive every day. Well, you're different. You have values. And the values are the values you set for yourself every single day. And brands are not timeless, unfortunately. You know, look at Sears and look at Kmart. They at one time were incredible, incredible brands. But your brand, you are timeless. The brand you build will be the brand that you live with for the full time of your life. So we're going to talk a lot about the brand called you tonight. But the first, I want to say this. What is a brand? Have you ever asked yourself the question, what is a brand? I don't care who you want to be or what you want to be. Your brand is important because a brand is simply a promise of what you stand for. I know what our president stands for, and I know the brand that she has created. In 16 years, she has done more at this university than all of our other presidents combined. Because she had the vision of what the brand of USF should stand for. And she understood what she stood for. And she knew how to surround herself with a team that would bring that brand to life the way she wanted to. So remember, a brand is simply a promise of what each and every one of us stand for. You know, it's interesting. I usually say vision is not seeing what is, but vision is seeing what could be. Very important. But vision is not seeing just what is. Vision is believing what you could be. So when you imagine yourself, what you're going to do with your life, then you have to believe you can in order for that to happen. And branding is then sharing that belief with the world. Once you believe and you know who you are and you know what you want to be, then you have to share that. And you've got to build and brag it. If you don't believe it, nobody else will. I will promise you that. You know, think about this. When we built Papa John's as a brand, America didn't need a third pizza maker. Think about it. They had Domino's and Pizza Hut, two incredible brands. So we had to figure out how to make that brand stand for something that was more meaningful for the families of America. And that's where Better Ingredients, Better Pizza was born and activated from. And we activated it under the quality and freshness message. Because everybody wants something that's a little bit better, but still has a value proposition attached to it. So it's interesting, when I was at USF in my campaigns class, I was very fortunate. I had a doctor named Dr. Fudge that taught the class. And he came in and said, for our campaigns class this year, we have two choices. We can do a local campaign for the chain CDBs. You all know CDBs, right? And they were expanding like mad, but the guys wanted a campaign. Or we have this interesting brief that came in from NIDA, which stood for National Institute on Drug Abuse. And the brief that came in said they wanted to stop or curb the drug use among the youth of America. I said, that's pretty simple, Dr. Fudge. I said, we should absolutely take the challenge that went out to every university in the country and compete to create a campaign so we could win that contest. And he said to me, and I quote, I wish Dr. Fudge was here, but I want to quote him. He said, we've never won anything regionally, let alone nationally. I think we should do the local campaign. And I said, Dr. Fudge, that's for the students to decide, right? He said, yes. I said, can I speak to the class? So he said, absolutely. So I gave a pitch why we should do this, because we have a once-in-a-lifetime chance to make a difference. And if we work hard and we persevere and we innovate, we can win. And lo and behold, that's exactly what we did. Now listen, you've got to be creative in what you do. I remember we had all the briefing that came down, so I actually wrote a letter to Pasco County and Hillsborough County superintendent of schools, and I attached all the government thing on it. I said, we've been commissioned by the government to do this campaign for NIDA. Now what are they going to say? No? And they allowed us to go in and speak to the students in the schools, which was awesome. So out of that, we garnered our insights. If you're in marketing or advertising, insights and research are really important because they go into your strategy, and the strategy goes to the creators to create the great campaigns. Well, lo and behold, I was walking across the university one day, and I see Big Bill Fudge walking across the university towards me, and he's like, Jordan, Jordan, Jordan. And I'm like, holy shit, what did I do? I see this big guy coming at me, and the only place I ever saw him was in a greenery. There's a little pub that used to exist here at night. I don't know if it still exists or not. And he says, we won, we won. And I'm like, what did we win? Like, being a student, you know what it's like. You cram, 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 and then you flush and you push it out and you go to your next cram. Okay, right? Because you just keep going because, you know, you got to take those tests, you got to pass those tests, and you have nowhere to apply what you learned, so you just get rid of it and then go to the next test. And that's what we did. So anyways, he said, we won. He explained to me we won, and at the time he said, we're going to be going to Washington, D.C. next week to present our campaign in the White House. This is the picture in the White House. I don't know if you've ever seen that. I did. Okay. And that's me in the white suit. That was way before Scarface. And that's Dr. Fudge with the beard, and that gentleman's the head of NIDA. Now, I could not find this picture for years, and I found it in my mom's attic when she was moving out of her house. So I said, I've got to save this, and I told Sonia, who works at Zimmerman for now 14 years, I said, this has to go in front of our timeline, because this was the start of it all. That gave me the confidence. So with that, like many of you, you feel like, wow, I had a good vision, I knew what I wanted to do. We created this campaign. We beat every other college in the nation. We got to go to Washington, D.C. That's the Situation Room. In the White House, we got to present it. What could be better than this? My life is going perfect. I write 46 letters to New York ad agencies, and I set up 10 interviews from the 46 letters, and guess what? Nobody would hire me. What a bunch of dummies. Come on. They didn't hire me. You know what they said? One lady at Gray advertised and said, "Hey, kid, that's a campaign you did for college." I'm like, "Yeah? What have you done in the real world?" I said, "Nothing." I said, "You want to hear what I did growing up? You want to hear about my dreams or where I want to go?" No. She didn't want to hear it. I said, "Okay." I said, "I'm going to put my tail between my legs and realize, what am I going to do?" So what I had to do was figure out that in one of my marketing classes, I had a professor named Dr. Stevens. And Dr. Stevens was teaching us one day about the purchase funnel. And the top of the funnel had awareness, and the bottom of the funnel had profitability. I thought the funnel was inverted. I said, I grew up in a business, a family business like Judy did, and the family business always called, how are we going to make greater sales, more revenue next year? How are we going to increase our margins? How are we going to make more money? And how are we going to garner more market share? So I looked at it and said, I know lots of brands that have awareness, top of the funnel, but a lot of them don't have a lot of profitability. So how do I build a marketing plan, an advertising plan that drives profits first, or revenue? Okay, that'll fall down into the profits and make this a more successful brand. Because I'd rather have a brand that's profitable, that has a lot of market share, than a brand that isn't. And every brand we have, including Nissan North America, when we got there, they had lost $7 billion. 4 years later, they made $8 billion. So it's pretty easy to win when you're driving a brand towards profit. So whatever business you're in, you will never survive or thrive without driving profitability, which is revenue, margin, and giving a consumer a better reason to buy than price. So hard to believe. So I went back to Fort Lauderdale. I went to my parents' home, which is in the town of Sunrise, and I asked them if I could live there while I built my dream. Now, none of us want to go home. Okay, when we're out on our own, we don't want to go home, but sometimes you got to swallow a little humble pie if you're following your dream. And when you follow that dream, you have to be able to cast a big shadow on that. And you have to be able to learn the word sacrifice. And tonight I'm going to ask you all, when I get done with my story, how many of you are prepared to sacrifice for greatness later in life? Because with sacrifice comes a lot of pain. And sometimes a lot of tears. And sometimes a lot of doubt. And sometimes you lack confidence. But you will not lack. If you believe I did it, then you can too. And it's why I'm here today, to let you know anything is possible. If you dream it, it can happen. So as I turn the page, this is my first office. Shocking. Now we don't do $3+ billion out of there. I had big hills to climb, but I had bigger dreams, and I wasn't going to allow anyone to rob me of those dreams. Listen to this. My parents, my friends, my grandparents, some of my professors all thought I was crazy. How are you going to build an agency that's a metrics-driven advertising agency? That's going to focus on totally different metrics than any other agency had ever done before. I said, because I believe that's where the world is going. I believe the sectors are going to become more crowded. And when you look at the world today, you're going to see that the sectors are really crowded. When you go to buy a car, when I was growing up, there was 5 brands selling cars. Now you're approaching 40 brands selling cars. Okay, and you grew up, you had a couple of supermarket chains. Now you have more supermarket chains you know what to do with. And the specialty chains just keep on coming. Let me tell you, the only person that believed in me was me. And the only person that's going to believe in you, as I said earlier, is you. So these were my sacrifices. I lived in the back room on a sleeper sofa for 6 long years. Every bit of money I made went into technology because we were right in the beginning of the technology revolution. Any other money I made went to pay anybody that came to work with me. And his first employee was Richard Gray. He's still with me today. That's 32 years later. And whatever was left at the end of the year usually went to pay the taxes. So that means I made 0, or maybe a little bit, but nothing to live on. So every day I'd go to work, and if I didn't have time to make lunch, I wouldn't eat. I drove a 1973 Montego. You won't know what it is, but you can Google it, and you could see what it is. Not very attractive car. And I couldn't go on any dates because I had no money to go on a date. Now you see the success of today, but if you didn't know you could have that success, would you, and show me by hands, be willing to sacrifice to take that risk? Oh, there's a lot of hands. That's really good. Yeah, I don't usually get that many hands that are that willing to truly sacrifice for that. That blue dumpster became my inspiration. And my fear inside of me was my fuel. How many of you are fearful of failing? And that's wonderful. Don't ever lose that fear. I still have it today. I know you think I'm crazy, but I still have it today, that fear of failing. I don't want to fail at anything that I do. I want to be the very best. And I tell you, be the very best every day. Look in that mirror and say, what were my goals today? What did I accomplish? What are my goals tomorrow? And then set it again. Remember, you can lie to the world, but you can't lie to yourself. And when you look in the mirror will be your truth serum. And it'll help you accomplish anything you want to accomplish in life. And I started this company with $10,000. And my clients always say to me today, if I give you $10,000, can you turn it into $3 billion for me? I said, I don't know if I could do it again. I don't know, knowing what I know today, if I would have the fortitude or the perseverance or the tenacity to do this again. Because the pain was stakingly high and the risk was huge at the time, and not knowing where the end result was going to be. So what happened? We turned it into this. That is our worldwide corporate headquarters that employs, I don't even know how many people anymore around the country, but a lot of people around the country. And that's what we call home. It is inspirational to pull up to every day. It sits right on I-95, and it lights up in red at night. We built a landmark in Fort Lauderdale. We wanted something the city would be proud of, the people that work in Zimmerman would be proud of, the university that put my brand up would be proud of, and most importantly, when our clients came in, or potential clients came in, they'd be proud of. But I also wanted a place where you, yes, you would want to go to work. And I will tell you this, we hire USF people before everybody else. I believe in you because I sat there. And I know in life we all need breaks. And we had some USF students this year in our intern program, and if you ever get a chance to speak to them, they will tell you what an incredible summer they had. Challenging but rewarding. Challenging but rewarding. 12 weeks, and it is a paid internship. And it is not a gopher internship. You actually learn, and most of them say, I have learned more in these 12 weeks than I have learned in my entire life. And I have books that they leave of letters from every year we did this. And why I did it was because when I was in school, when I came out, I didn't have a vision of what I wanted to do, but I knew I wanted to do marketing and advertising. I didn't know what in marketing and advertising I wanted to do. So I wanted to be able to create a program that would be the best in the world, and the best in, and it is by far, anybody that goes through you talk to will tell you it is the best program in the world. And it will inspire you, and it will motivate you to do great things with your life. And I owe that to you. I didn't do it for me. Believe me, it takes a lot of work for my people, and it takes a lot of work for me to have the students there. But it's part of what you call pay it forward. I am paying it forward to make sure that I give you a kickstart in life so you can accomplish incredible things. One of our interns, who was a senior in high school, came in and begged for the internship. She became our intern of the year. The next year, she went to University of Pennsylvania, Wharton Business School, got an internship at Google, and became the intern of the year at Google. And she came to see me and say, I owe it all to you. You inspired me. That is absolutely huge. In these headquarters, people walk in and say, wow, that's like the Google of the East. How did you build that? And I said, we used all the inspiration we had that was out there to be able to do that. So let me play you a little video that we put together so you could see the internal workings of Zimmerman.
Welcome to the machine. Zimmerman Advertising, the best retail agency on the planet. Here, 130,000 square feet is home to an incredible array of talent and facilities that was designed for one purpose and one purpose only: to build great retail brands. Here, there's a mission, there's a purpose, and there's courage. The hunger and the fight starts at the top and runs right through every hallway in the building. And while a lot of agencies have creative and media and digital services, Zimmerman has much more as a fully integrated company. And so this space was built for that very purpose. A purpose that requires spacious floor plans and top to bottom glass walls. Every room, everything is transparent. Down the hallway from the main conference room is the agency's media group. ZMG is home to a combination of analysts and street fighters, those who plan media like financial advisors, but buy from a live trading desk in a high-energy environment. In another wing, you'll find our analytics and strategy team, as well as our own research team using modern and heretical methods to dig deep for insight and behavior, studying the consumer at the moment of truth. Down the hallway, there's Z Sports and Entertainment Group, a specialty group that connects us to the biggest names in show business and sports. Down the main staircase is a town square, a Z Cafe for company meetings or where associates can grab a bite or just connect. And while every floor has full kitchens, the kitchen next to the Z Cafe even has a Coke Freestyle machine. This is the account management floor, where the rooms and flow-through enables professionals to more seamlessly grow their clients' business. There are lounges, informal rooms for breakout meetings, and larger rooms for more formal sessions. Another floor is where the power of both right and left brain come together to drive client success and KPIs. On one side are our creative offices, defined by teams of art directors and copywriters. On the opposite side of the floor is the Retail Technologies Group, a team that designs and builds proprietary analytics and tracking software. Because if you're going to promise clients the win, you better be able to measure it. Right in the middle, you'll run into a full-service copy and print facility and a pre-production room with a green screen suitable for filming content videos. We also provide several lounge areas where associates can lean back and clear their minds, or even continue their work in a more relaxed environment. Now, let's step into Studio Z, our full-service audio and visual design best-in-class post-production facility. Audio, music, motion graphics, CGI animation, and creative editorial all under one roof. But most importantly, Studio Z is a lifeline extension to the creative department of the agency. This collaboration ensures that from conception to completion, our results are seamless. But then there's a game-changing facility like no other in the world. A social and digital media newsroom, the largest in the country, where Zimmerman can publish content, control and hijack consumer conversations, mold social content for the agency's brands, manage reputations, and measure the results based on custom-designed software, not just licensed tools. Zimmerman is a machine, a retail growth machine. A company with an engine unlike any other, but a company that recognizes its power lies within its people. This facility is for them, with every comfort, every tool, and designed for collaboration among all to relentlessly pursue our clients' goals and never rest in the glory. Welcome to the machine. Welcome to Zimmerman.
So it seems like a really cool place to work. So I wrote a book after being nudged for years that you need to put a book together. So if you want to be inspired, I didn't write it as an inspirational book, I promise you, but everyone that reads it says, you've re-inspired my life. So hopefully you'll get a chance to read it this year and really enjoy it. So I want to switch it now to you, because I want you to know how you can build the machine called you, or the brand called you. Because it's one thing to make our clients grow. It's another thing to make yourself grow. And I appreciate you taking an hour of your time to be here tonight, but focus with me for that 1 hour. Because I promise you, when you're done, you'll walk out of here with bigger goals than you ever dreamed possible. Goals that'll scare people when you tell them, but goals that are truly attainable. And talk to anyone that has created greatness in their life, and they'll tell you, you know, it wasn't that big of a deal. I never realized it could be like this. You know what? I didn't realize that it would be this much fun. I didn't realize I can inspire that many people. And you look at the greatness in the world and it's unbelievable. So first thing I want to say is point number 1, turn everything upside down. I talked a little about what I wrote in school. Well, you know, when I was a successful student here, this is a brand telling paper I wrote. I said lots of people in the business are measuring output. I want to measure outcome. And I want to do it through a methodology called brand telling. I actually trademarked it. I own the trademark on it. And it builds a brand over time, which is very important, but builds sales overnight. Every business you're in has a monthly P&L, profit and loss statement. And every month, you want that P&L to be positive, right, Moez? Okay, we don't want to have any losing months in our life. And it's the same way you balance your checkbook. So let me tell you why Zimmerman has been successful and why you're going to be successful. Because when you're done tonight, you're not going to look at an industry the way it is. You'll look at an industry of what could be, as I looked at it. I looked at the industry and it was driven by creativity. I said, we're going to drive Zimmerman by results. So whatever business you go into, whatever you're doing, look at the industry and say, how can I differentiate myself in an industry of sameness? Because every agency in the country was doing it the same way. I just decided to do it with results. And I convinced other people that came to work with me just that I was doing it the right way. Then I had to figure out how myself and my team convinced the chief marketing officers, the presidents, the CEOs that thought they just needed to build this brand. It wasn't about building a brand. They had to drive traffic into their retail location. They had to make you think about them first, and so on. Next is, they were building a brand. We were building businesses. They were building their agency. It's not about us. It's about them. We were building the clients' businesses. And they focus on output of work, the big creative idea. We want big ideas. We focus on the outcome of those big ideas. The same way I want you to focus tonight on the outcome of your life. It starts with this education. Are you totally driven for what you want your education to be? What the outcome of that education really is? Can you inspire yourself to do something different? Are you in the right major? And if you're in that right major, can you actually move that major forward? When we've been growing Zimmerman, we look at our talent and we say, we don't want just doers in the agency. We want people that are makers. We want people that can make a difference in the agency of Zimmerman. And diversity. When you say to me, well, how are you? We are hugely diverse because we hire people with any background. We don't care what color they are. We don't care what ethnicity they are. Okay, and if you look at this, if you know the industry has 15% overall diversity, we have 27% overall diversity. And you look at our female leaders, the industry has 20%, we have 56% female leadership. This is not about who you are, where you come from. This is about your heart, your soul, and your desire. And in life, it is going to be about your heart, your soul, and your desire. What you make in your education is up to you. And what you make in your life is up to you as well. So tonight, dream big and dare to fail. Now, as we move forward, I want to talk about idea growth. And this is really interesting because you're going to see a case study tonight that we did with Ellen. You're all familiar with Ellen, right? And you know her pranks and what she does. So let me play you a little bit of our work that will entertain you, and then I'll get into a case study. It gives you a little bit of inspiration of what we do. Now, we talked a little about the Social Acquisition Center, and we call it Acquisition Activation Center, which is really cool. So let me play you something here that we created in there, but let me give you the setup to it. We have social listeners in the agency. You are the digital generation, and I love it because it's so great. But we have social listeners, and we heard one day that Perez Hilton from TMZ leaked a story about what was going to be on Ellen that day, and it was about our client Jamba Juice. So we watched a little video and realized she was going to do a prank in a Jamba Juice using Adele, and Adele was going to go in there and create a fictitious brand called Swishy Chug. I can't make this up. Okay, and so she went in there, she spent 8.5 minutes in one of her Jamba Juices. And I have a video to show you. We cut it down to make it into a case study, but I want to show you what actually happened in that 8.5 minutes.
Tell me about Jamba Juice.
Tell me about Jamba Juice.
We have something similar in Britain.
We have something similar in Britain.
We call it a Swishy Chug.
Swishy Chug is called in English.
Swishy Chug. Say it.
Swishy Chug.
Say it. Swishy Chug.
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 How did we respond to the prank? Let's let Ellen explain.
Obviously, there's no such thing as a Swishy Chug, and after it aired, this website appeared. It's swishychug.com. It says, move over tea and crumpets. England has a new national favorite, the Rolling in the Beets smoothie. And when you click on the coupon, it takes you to Jamba Juice, a website for $2 off any smoothie. So very cool. So Jamba Juice put that overnight. They put that up, and I love that they did that. I mean, that's a fantastic idea.
Thank you, Ellen, but it didn't happen overnight. It was faster. We picked up on the prank the morning it happened, and by the time the segment aired in the afternoon, we had built the Swishy Chug brand from scratch, complete with a logo, a website, a coupon, and a Twitter handle. We even launched 5 signature smoothies inspired by Adele. Within seconds of the broadcast, the internet lit up with conversations about Jamba Juice and Swishy Chug. We jumped in and kept the conversation going, with tweets and a response video. Our engagement went off the charts. In just 4 days, Jamba Juice was featured in over 1,200 publications, which led to an internet-breaking number of impressions, generating over $10 million of earned exposure. In the end, we used a fake brand to communicate that the fruits and veggies in our smoothies are very real. And while Swishy Chug may not be real, we found that the power of social media certainly is.
incredible idea, but the results were even more incredible. First of all, we built the website in 3 hours. We called Google and begged them to index it for us immediately. We bought the domain, registered it immediately. Okay, and in less than 6 hours, we had it up and running. 120,000 coupons were downloaded. Over 40,000 coupons were redeemed. Think about that, 40,000 coupons were redeemed. And what could a client say but love you? They didn't even know this was going on. We called them and said, you know what's going on in your store? No, we have no idea. Do you know that Ellen's doing a prank? We have no idea. Because Ellen doesn't tell you anything. And they don't have any social listeners out there. We do. So we made that. What happens in our industry usually is somebody will tweet. And that'll be the end of it. But you are way smarter than that. You see what could be. Now we have in Zimmerman, okay, many of you will want to go into social, into digital. But we also have a full retail technologies department. So we do our own wireframes, our own coding. We have coding teams in America. We have 2 coding teams in Russia. So anything, I want to show you that to show you anything you dream of is possible. That's a great example of being something that is possible. So that's lesson. And forget about likes. You know, it's interesting. Success isn't owned, I heard this. It's leased. And rent is due on success every day. Like each of you know in school, that rent is due every day with that professor and how you meet and greet. But I saw something get really interesting because we're so in this community of like, love, ha-ha, wow, sad, angry. This is what's important. Respect. You want your teachers, your professors, the doctors, the fellow students, the president, the provost, the deans to respect you. You want them to feel your passion. You want them to know that you have big dreams and goals. You want them to inspire you even more, but you want to help them. And you want them to be proud of you, and you're going to continue to bring their brand into the world and make them proud of the success you have. Because we are a derivative of them. And if we're not a brand called you, what kind of a derivative are we really? So I asked myself, how do we differentiate Zimmerman? Well, the first thing we do is we put all of our cell phone numbers on our business cards. And we have a tagline, 24/7 seriously. Is that not the world we live in today? We live in the world of 24/7 seriously. Point of view, we have to have a point of view, and we need to push those point of views every single day. We also have to have data. Data will give us information, and we are data-centric agencies. Many of you, how many of you go into marketing and advertising? So we have a good amount of you. And I know that sometimes in advertising, people don't want to be in because they're afraid of mathematics. We have a full data department. Don't be afraid of mathematics. Somebody else will do that for you. Seriously. If you don't like it, you don't have to do it. Okay, and the ones that love it, you get to do it. David Henry runs our analytics department. He is a genius, and he's great to deal with every day. So it gives you an idea of what you can do, but being able to touch that client every day, have daily communication with that client. As Sonia will tell you, who's here tonight, she will tell you I'm on the phone and texting with the clients throughout the world all the time. It's what I do. And then I'm texting to my team and telling my team what they need to do. The same thing you need to do in order to activate your life and be a little bit different. You have to let your professors know how passionate you are and how much you're driving yourself. And these are the great brands that we represent. Now those brands can go to New York, they can go to LA, or they can come to us at Zimmerman. And I'll show you this, not to be braggadocious, but I'm proud of it, but to show you that we built this agency on a dream, on a hope, on a prayer, and because we didn't take no for an answer. How many of you understand in life? The answer is yes. Now what's the question? The answer is yes. Now what's the question? If a client asks me anything, I'm going to figure out with our team how to get that done. In school, how do you truly differentiate yourself to get it done so you can accomplish the most you can accomplish every day, but then a charge into the world? So you see the brands, but how do we measure these brands? By metrics, by their success. And Boldly, always boldly build on your brand. This is us, the best agency on the planet, based on client profitability. And what does that get us? That gets us a whole lot of publicity. Whether I'm on Fox, or I'm speaking to students, or they're writing up about the agency. But when it's for you, you want to know that I am a brand, and how I walk and talk does that. Let me talk about brands for 1 second. When you look at these brands, they've been around since 1925, and they're still leaders in their category. Think about that. They're still leaders. How have they done that? Well, I thought about that and said, a brand is a promise of value you receive. So Hershey gives us incredible value, so does Kellogg's. Personal branding is as important to a person as a company is in branding their product or service. So when you leave here tonight, are you going to think to myself or yourself, how am I going to brand myself different? Well, this is how I want you to think of yourself. Be the CEO of your own company. Tonight, I am making you all CEOs of Me Inc. You are a CEO of Me Incorporated. Sound crazy? Or sound like something you could get behind and say, I am now the CEO of Me Inc. And Me Inc. has to set new goals and new direction every single day. I have to raise the bar every single day. I have to perform at different levels every single day. Now, many of you are going to go into life and you're going to charge. You're going to charge hard and you're going to dream. And you're going to be inspired and you're going to accomplish things. You're going to grow faster than you ever imagined. But some of you aren't going to charge as hard. And I'm going to give you a slogan. You never want to turn 40 or 50 and say, I wish I would have. I know I could have. As far as I know, we get one pass at this life. And you want to go with it for all the gusto. Many of you might be the first in your family to be in college. The first in your family to start your own business. The first in your family to dream about doing something different. Many of my friends and many people I know continued on the path that their family was on. We all chose a different path. And the path is through education. And that education will propel you to do great things with your life. So now that you are CEOs, and I commend you all, including you, Hannah, wherever you are. Where are you, Hannah? You're hiding. Okay. But continue to do that. How do you stand out? What can you do to make yourself famous? It's interesting, I walk into restaurants or I go places, and I used to own 2 hockey teams. I once owned the Tampa Bay team up here, and I owned the team in Florida called the Florida Panthers. So, I was just an ad schlepper before that. Then all of a sudden they realized I had a little bit of money because I could buy hockey teams. And I used to walk out. Now, I like being the ad guy. I like being the guy that says, hey, that guy's Zimmerman. He's the guy that built that big agency. I like that. I think that's great. But I like when they say, yeah, he does the advertising for Party City. They're kicking ass. That makes me really happy. Or somebody says, I saw one of your Nissan commercials and I bought a car. That makes me happy. Or they saw a Papa John's ad and they bought a pizza. That makes me happy. So ask yourself, if you're building the brand called you or a brand called me, what's going to make you happy? What's going to inspire you? What's going to get you up every day and drive you to the end? So I look at that and say, how do I capitalize on it? So here we go. So what are your features? Okay, I ask you this. Are you the best creative person in your agency or in your group? The most tech savvy. I'm sure there's a lot of tech people in here. The one who people can say, I trust him or I trust her, and I will follow them. The one who anticipates and solves every single problem. We're all problem solvers in our group, and some of us love to solve problems, and others of us don't. The one who gets it done no matter what. And the one that are you the most likable or the best leader? Do they fit any of you? I'm sure there's a couple in there and many in there that fit you. And I'm sure there's some that you will want to adopt. So I say, ask yourself these 3 questions. What do I do that's distinctive and adds value to me? What do I do that I'm the most proud of? What can I brag about? Ask yourself those 3 questions. Then, ask yourself, how do I market myself? You have a 0 budget, but you have endless possibilities. Endless. You don't need money to market yourself in the world we live in today. You have the social and digital world that we must respect, but we could use it to build incredible brands. Think about what we did for Jamba Juice. It cost them 0. They got $14 million worth of free media. 40,000 sales because of that, and they paid nothing for it. So when you look at ways to market yourself up in school, sign up for an extra project. I know, who needs more work? Let me tell you, if you walk into Moez and one of his professors or doctors and you tell them you want to do an extra project, they're going to look at you a little bit differently than they look at everybody else. Introduce yourself to the new colleagues and professors and people differently. How you walk, how you talk, how you shake hands, how you look in their eyes. That creates the brand called you. Sign up for seminars like you did tonight. That shows your interest. That shows your commitment. And when you sign up, don't be disrespectful and walk out. Okay? Either be focused and be ready and be on attack, or don't show up. Write a column or a blog. I have a blog and I have a column, and if you tweet with me, it's JZ Speaks. And where are you? Where's Tony Lee? And Tony Lee helps me with JZ Speaks because it is big. I mean, when you look at, I have over almost 500,000 people that follow me on Twitter, so I can't do it on my own. So I need somebody like a Tony Lee to be here to help me. And my chief of staff is here, Michelle Sabini, wherever you are, Michelle. And I have Sonia here, who I talked about earlier. And I also have from IT department, he's here, helping with my presentation. So everybody, and that's Theo, everybody is here because we're all one group. And there's no silos within Zimmerman, just like there shouldn't be any silos in our university. We're all here to do the best we possibly could do. And this is supposed to help you. And the last thing is join a charity or a cause that's related project. We must give back. And you know what? I'm fortunate I can give back with monetarily today, but you want to be able to give back like I am tonight with your time, your energy, and your passion. And you need to help the people that are less fortunate. Okay? And you need to pay it forward in a big way. And energy is a great way to pay it forward. Everything you do, and I mean everything, builds the brand called you. The way you speak, as I spoke about. How do you speak? Do you speak with confidence? The way you dress. Listen, I used to wear a suit and tie every day. I realized either you're going to like me or not like me. Okay? You're going to either say, I like him and I want to do business with him, I trust him. And I say three things. People do business with people they like, they trust, and are inspired by. And you have the ability to inspire your professors, to inspire the other students in your classes, and to inspire if you work. In your workplace, you have the ability to inspire them as well. The way you shake hands. Do you take somebody's hand and shake it firmly? And specifically, the way you handle yourself. Now, I'm going to talk about social media. It's forever. You understand that? What you post, what you say, the pictures that are out there, they are forever. I preach to my children about this. And let me tell you what we do. We look on all your social media before we hire you, because we want to know the kind of person you are. How are you going to leave here tonight and protect the brand called you? Ask yourself that question. And will you think of it differently after you leave here tonight than you did before you came in, knowing you are a brand called you. I'd like to know, to this point, do you look at yourself differently tonight than you did before you walked in the room? Show of hands. And that's just a start in what we're going to do together. So when I look at it, I say, you know, and specifically social media, when I say that, I'm not just talking about social media here. Social media is the way you conduct yourself in society as well, because people are videotaping us and shooting us when we least expect it. I looked at the New York Post this morning and I saw Usain Bolt, and I saw all those pictures, and I said, does he not get it? He's a brand. And he's a brand and an inspiration not only to all of us, to our children as well. Well, my opinion of his brand this morning changed overnight because he didn't think about that. When I look at your words, it's the key to your brand. The big trick in building your own brand is nurturing your network of teachers, colleagues, and friends. Listen, when you speak to your teachers, your professors, the doctors, the adjuncts, whoever is teaching, they will be infected by your passion. Passion is infectious. So if they know how passionate you are about your dreams, they will hook on to those dreams. I promise you that. But many of us just go into a class, we do our work, and we leave. And that's not good enough. We've got to connect with those professors. We've got to connect with them in a way that they know is meaningful, they know is real, and they know that they want to support you. They want to help you do better than even you imagined you could do. And once you hook them and they start to become inspired by you, you will then become more inspired by them and what they can do for you. So you have to do that in order to be great. So what is the real power of you, if you ask yourself? The real power of you is you have the power to influence and change anything or anybody. People gravitate to people and brands that project power, that are believable, and that have proven they can actually do it. So take the lead in one of the groups you work in, or write the report or a project that you weren't asked to do. If you want people to see you as a powerful brand, act like a credible person. Don't give up. The fact is, you are a leader, and you're a leader in the brand called you, and the brand that you became, or you will become. Being the CEO of Me, Inc. requires sometimes selfish behavior. You know, being that the founder of Zimmerman is a lonely place to be sometimes. Because in order to grow a big company, you have to learn to hire and empower. You have to let people go. You have to allow them to do their jobs, even when you come in and you're inexperienced. Because if we do your job for you, you'll never learn. And that's why the internship program has been so successful, because you're fully empowered in that internship program. So ask yourself as you go here, how are you going to grow yourself, promote yourself, and reward yourself? Have you ever thought like this before? Ever? This is the way you must think in order to have greatness in your life, in order to be inspired every day, in order to feel like I can conquer the world. Because if you do not believe you can, you never will. And I remember when I told somebody I was going to build the first $100 million agency in South Florida, you know what they did? One guess. They laughed. And when I said I'm going to build the billion, they laughed even harder. And then what I did, they believed. And you can make them believe as well. And I hope I will inspire you to be able to do that through the end of my presentation tonight. Ask yourself, every day when you look in the mirror, how is my brand doing? How am I doing as a person? Evaluate yourself. And ask yourself, is your growth, are you growing and is your value changing to the people around you, to your classrooms, and most importantly, to yourself? Do you feel better about you? And you know what? Start with writing your own mission statement. Now, let me give you my mission statement that we wrote for Zimmerman, which is really interesting, and probably you ask yourself later, you ask me the question. Relentlessly pursue our client's goal and never rest in the glory. Wait a second. I just said it's a mission statement about Zimmerman. Relentlessly pursue the client's goal and never rest in the glory. We're only successful because our clients are successful. That is the only reason we're successful. And wherever you go to work, the only reason you're going to be successful there is because you do it unselfishly. You really work for the brands that you represent, and you give them everything you have every day. And today, that means you give everything you can in the classroom. Every single day in that classroom, you give it 110%. And you have your eye on where you want to go when you graduate. What are my top 3 companies? How am I going to get into that company? Can I get an internship there now? What can I do? How do I connect when I'm in the internship? How do I make them want to hire me when that internship is over? Make a mission statement that fits the brand called you. And then evolve that mission statement as your brand evolves every single day. And the 4 pillars of a brand called you. Be a great teammate. Have honesty and integrity and look out for your teammates. Become an expert on something of value no matter what you do. So if you're in accounting, how do you become an expert in accounting when you impress your accounting teacher, or economics, or finance? Or if you're in the Zimmerman school, how do I write better than anybody else in a writing class? How do I do better in digital marketing? Ask yourself the question, how do I innovate so my professor takes notice? Be a visionary, a far-sighted imaginer. Imagine what could be, and then create that. And be a business person, obsessed with the results that are there. And invest in your own image. Leadership, not followship. Be a leader. I say to my children all the time, don't be a follower. It'll wind up getting you in trouble. Be a leader. And set the tone yourself for the rest of your life. People might not follow you in the beginning, as they didn't follow me. But tell me now, they follow and they believe. Ladies and gentlemen, that's how you build your own brand and your own machine. I hope tonight was helpful, inspiring, and most importantly, will put you on the path of great success. I want to take a couple of seconds and say thank you very much, and I want to open up for any questions you might have. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.